Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, I hope you're having a great day and a fantastic start to your weekend. My name is Teresa and this is our latest installment of Releases and Rants. So every weekend I like to hang out with you guys and talk about the newest releases in makeup and beauty that we've collectively found rather interesting. There's a lot of releases within a week and quite frankly I don't want to cover them all. So to do that, a few of you guys are wonderful and actually tag me in the stuff that you guys want me to talk about. So a massive thank you to everyone who does that. Your names are being displayed right now. I couldn't have this sort of an episode without you. I so appreciate it. A huge thank you as always to my YouTube community members. The lovely Terry actually won a recent giveaway and I did post on your goodies, a pair of Jordana Tisha blushes, and I'm hoping they'll be with you in the next few days. Do let me know once they have arrived, complete with possible cat fur contaminants. But yeah. Anyways, my gorgeous friends, we do have a few little pieces to talk about, but as always, this is your little weekly reminder. Do please grab yourself a beverage. I think you can actually see the steam emanating from this. And look at this fabulous little cat mug. I got it in Tesco. I'm very, very pleased with myself. But do get yourself a beverage, coffee, tea. If you need something harder, I don't know. I don't know what time you're watching this and I am not here to judge. But do get all of that ready and some snickety snacks and we will get straight on into it. The first thing that we're talking about is actually a little bit of a recap of what we were discussing last week, because I only knew that parts of the Divination collection from Robert Welsh were coming out. I knew there was an eyeshadow palette, but I didn't know anything beyond that. And now we've obviously seen the full collection at its peak. We know exactly what's happening here. There's an eyeshadow palette for $48. It's a mixture of mattes and there's some interesting metallic-y duochrome shades in there as well. $48 US. There's two Divination gloss balms, so B-A-L-M-S, and that's because he wanted essentially a very specific texture. I think they're really interesting. There's two shades with that. So there's Betrayal, which is a deep purple and has these blue sparkles which look super interesting, and there's Good Fortune, which is a sort of a green with gold sparkles. They're $15 US each. And of course then there's the Divination stackable lashes. So essentially what comes in that packet are two separate pairs of lashes and you can use them separately or you can combine them or stack them together. This is pretty usual with an MUA sort of a release, so I think that's very, very smart. They're $12 US, or you can bundle the whole lot together for $90 US. As you're watching, this is already available. To the best of my knowledge, there are retail distributors like Glisten Cosmetics who are also providing this, and I believe I Feel Beautiful Canada might be doing this as well. Right, I was kind of speculating last week as to what all of this would involve, and can I just say, I'm very pleased with myself, because I did kind of say that I thought there would be purples, blues, some greys. I kind of thought there might be some neutrals. I don't think I said that at the time. I was kind of shocked to see greens and yellows. Pleasantly surprised, because I like greens. I'm not as into yellows, but I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I was watching Robert's kind of reveal video and his rationale around this. I thought it was really interesting that he kind of talked about his makeup artistry and how his kind of preferred thing around that would actually be a neutral sort of a look. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And this is where he kind of denoted the distinction or the differentiation between like an MUA and an influencer, because obviously now that he is pretty much making his living via social media, he's changed up like even his content, etc. over the last like couple of years, months, etc. And his makeup somewhat reflects that. So it's a lot more bright, colourful, etc. So I thought it was really interesting that he leaned into that aspect of himself, because obviously you've lots of different sides to yourself, but he was showing like his social media influencer type side. It's not exactly what I would have thought. And he was also saying, and this slightly broke my heart, he was like, I'd have loved an all purple palette, but I thought that people wouldn't like that. And I'm like, oh, Robert, stop worrying about what other people want and think about what you would want. Because I feel, and I've been watching Robert for years now, like an unhealthy amount of time, and I really trust his judgment. So I would have loved to see something that was like exactly what he wanted. Like, you know, he loves purple, why not do an all purple palette? That's not me saying that I don't like this palette, but there was something that made me a little bit sad about him kind of going, oh, I figured that other people wouldn't like that. And it's like, oh, Robert, we care about you and what you enjoy. So there's a part of me that would have really loved to have seen that, like maybe like a cool toned purple palette with like some blacks and greys. Now, they haven't said that this is the one-off collection. I personally think they could do a part 2 and we could see him maybe explore that a little bit more. Why not do a neutral palette? Because Blend Bunny had one neutral palette before and it was their Forget Me Not. I'm not counting the Dollhouse in there because that's not entirely neutral either. But they don't have the Forget Me Not anymore. And I feel like he could do a really interesting 25 pan. 5 pans of like very shimmery shades and then 10 pans of a cool tone neutral and then 10 pans of warm toned neutral. again, you could use it across the face. Those are just my thoughts. And I realise I haven't actually talked about the actual palette, but it's just like I expected lots of different things and this wasn't 100% what I was expecting, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's always good to have somebody kind of surprise you with something like that. I've seen quite a few swatches now and they look really, really pretty. He did also point out that this is kind of very much a clear collaboration with Blend Bunny, to which I entirely agree. It's curated in the same way that you would have seen previous Blend Bunny palettes. There's those colour columns, that kind of gradient sort of a layout. Personally, I like that. It's aesthetically very, very pleasing. And I do feel like this is very much a marriage between them. Packaging, beautiful. The colour story, I actually think is quite nice. If you've never tried Blend Bunny before and you love Robert, this might be the perfect time to actually try it, because it is a pretty good formula. Can I just say, I do struggle to be entirely objective about this because I have such a soft spot for Robert, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of people on the internet who are going to feel exactly the same way. We're going to be like, oh, Robert is wonderful, he can do no wrong. So I am trying to be like as objective as possible, but I have a specific positionality in here as well. He's just a very, very nice person. But I feel like he's done really, really well. And I'll also say, I am actually getting this in PR. Look, if you're shocked, I'm also shocked. I'm probably more shocked than you are. I don't know on a scale of 1 to 10 how shocked you actually are. But I got the email the other day kind of going, this is being shipped out to you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited, because I would have ended up buying this. I would have, realistically. I adore Robert. So happy to see him doing something like this, because he's done collaborations before with like the likes of Ciate London. And I did get his like bundle box a while ago. And I have to say, there are things from that bundle box that to this day I'm like, yeah, this is a tried and trusted thing that I really love. And I feel like he's come up with a really pretty sort of a palette. Is it like new? Is it totally different? No, but I see where he's coming from with that. However, the things that I feel are the most interesting in this collection are actually the gloss bombs. And I wasn't in any way surprised to see him come out with a shade Good Fortune. That's the green one, because he talked extensively about not liking redness in his lips. I mean, can't relate, Robert. I love a red lip, but he wants to neutralize it as much as possible. Obviously, he knows color theory. Green is going to cancel out red. It's going to make it a lot more neutral. So him coming out with this, I was like, okay, here we are. This is an MUA at play here. We are seeing something very, very interesting. The price is really good, $15 US. Can I also just say, the fact that it comes with like a little spatula, that straight away I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here, you clever little minx. That alone, he could have just come out with those and I'd have been like, yes sir, I see what you're doing here. That feels so different. You know, like I could really see how that was linked. And obviously then the kind of a purpley tone with the blue sparkles. I mean, if that's not Robert, frankly, at this point, I actually don't know what is. I thought that was so, so pretty. And he's shown like a couple of pictures of him wearing it. And I'm like, oh, you look gorgeous. I mean, he always looks gorgeous, but you know, whatever. $15 US. And I think the fact that they're the ones that kind of stand out the most to me is really interesting, because they're also the items that tend to get repurchased the most. Like, you don't tend to repurchase an eyeshadow palette. It's very rare that you'll kind of hit pan. The fact that he's put a lot of careful consideration into these sort of products, I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. The other thing that I find really interesting is obviously the stackable lashes. I have what can only be described as the world's worst eyelashes. They are straight and they look down, which is like the opposite of me, because I'm queer and try not to be judgmental, but apparently my lashes didn't get the memo. It's really interesting that he's come out with these false lashes, because he's obviously like really into it anyways. I think he has a lot of the same issues in terms of like his lashes are similar to mine, so I tend to follow him on that. I'm a bit worried in the sense that I have glasses, so obviously I'm kind of limited on the type of lashes that I can wear. I'd love to have massive dramatic ones, but it looks like I could potentially get away with these. The fact that these are stackable, absolutely love it. So technically you're kind of getting 3 styles within one. You have the 2 solo pairs, but then obviously when you combine them, love that. And $12 US, I have to say, don't think that's bad at all. The packaging of everything, beautiful. The photo shoots, amazing. Jordan Liberty did a lot of work on that, and it was all just done with such a beautiful aesthetic. Can I just say one little critique? One little critique, right? I know that Robert Welsh is an incredible makeup artist, and I personally would love to see him really don the makeup artistry thing. He's, by the way, doing a makeup artistry class in the UK sometime soon. I can't remember exactly the dates. Have a little look. Really jealous of anyone who can go, because that sounds fantastic, but my schedule, etc., won't allow that sort of thing. But I am so intrigued by all of this knowledge that he has in terms of makeup artistry, and I would have loved to have seen him be the makeup artist behind these shoots. That's not me saying that Jordan Liberty didn't do an amazing job. They obviously did. Not discrediting that. I would just love to see that dimension of Robert. But I kind of get it at the same time, because he's kind of saying, you know, that palette is like the social media aspect of himself, which I totally get. So then he's kind of distancing himself in terms of the photo shoot, etc., by not being the MUA on that. I'm just greedy, and if I can get more like Robert content, I'm like, let us make this particular thing happen. All in all, I think it's really, really interesting, and I'm hoping that it opens up the door for further collaborations. As I've said before, this is what I would like. So Robert, if you happen to be listening, just take this on board. A £12 palette, right? £12 palette of cool toned purples with maybe like little hints of blue, like little periwinkle blues, right? That's what I want. I also want a £25 neutral palette. As I said before, 5 pans of like interesting shades, 10 pans of a cool tone neutral, and 10 pans of a warm tone neutral that you could use for your contouring, your bronzer, etc. Just do it MUA style. Do you know what I mean? I'm surprised that he didn't come out with a blush. He likes using a red blush, so I was like, I think that's kind of the next thing, would be maybe some blushes and maybe some lip liners. That's all I'm saying. I could see a few more things. I'm going to use my own divination here and just say that I feel like there needs to be more work on this in the future, because I feel like this is a great little toe in the bathtub. That's a very strange analogy, but it's like a great little start on something. But I don't want this to be it, you know, I don't want this to be the end. I want more. Again, like I said, I'm greedy. Robert doesn't go around doing collabs with anyone and everyone. He's very, very choosy about these things. Like I said, there's only a handful of things that he actually does collaborations with. It's the likes of Sigma for his brushes, with Ciate London, with that fabulous little pack before. He doesn't do a lot. So when he does, it's because he genuinely believes in it. So I personally would love to see part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just saying something like this. I could see there being a future in this. All in all, I think it's really, really interesting. It's going to be great for people who haven't tried Blend Bunny before and who love Robert. But I also feel that people who love Blend Bunny already and who may not know Robert, which what a weird Venn diagram that would be, they'll kind of look at that and be like, yes, I can see where Blend Bunny is in this. It does feel very much like a marriage of a 50-50, which is, by the way, very, very difficult to actually do. And it's kind of rare in a collab that you would see that like exact 50-50ness. Normally one kind of overpowers the other. So I thought this was really, really interesting. And there's definitely, I think, room for more stuff, and I'm very excited about it. But can I just say, this week in general, just a whole bunch of exciting things, or at least things that are exciting to me. And I know there's a few of you probably sitting back kind of going, why are you excited by so many things? It's like, well, who knows? This is Makeup by Mario, and this is his Ethereal Eyes eyeshadow palette, Moonlight. And it's available right now on Sephora UK for £69, but over on Makeup by Mario, it's $68. So it's more expensive for us here in Ireland, the UK, etc. There's 12 shades, there's 4 finishes. So there's glossy shimmers, sueded satins, sueded mattes, and natural metallics. The glossy shimmers are a first of its kind formula which are infused with pearls to impart a reflective wet-like shine on lids. And Mario said in his video that he was kind of trying to do that to emulate the look of the moon, which I was like, oh, that's interesting. I like that idea. The sueded satins then offer a smooth suede texture with a demi-silky sheen that provides subtle luminosity. Now my issue with this is that it is a limited limited edition. And I think that is foolish beyond all measure. Why would you come out with something that is this beautiful? I think this is gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. And why would you have it be limited edition? He did this before with his Ethereal palette and he had that be limited edition, but then it came back because a load of people were like, oh, we want it back, we want it back, we want it back. And I swear on all that is good and holy or unholy, whichever way you want to look at these things, if he does that with this palette, I don't actually know how I'm going to react, because I don't think it should be limited edition, but I don't want him to be like, oh, it's limited edition and then bring it back, because then it's like, okay, then it's sheer FOMO. Like, if you're going to have it be permanent, announce this pretty soon is all I can say. I did actually end up purchasing this today. Look, I have issues, but I'm really excited. Those shimmery shades really caught me. Is this going to change my life? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it could. I mean, the edges do look kind of weapon-like, so I could multitask with it. I just like the cool tones of it. Like, it's properly cool toned. I found it interesting in the video. He was like saying, oh, there's a mixture of warm and cool, and I'm just sitting, even looking at the swatches, and they have done it across like various skin tones, and I'm like, sorry, where is the warm? I just see cool, which I'm cool with. I'm grand with it being all cool, because I get very annoyed when people say, oh, there's cool tones, and I see not a glimmer of cool in there. I'm just like, you don't have to say there's warm and cool. Like, it's fine that it's all cool. It's the shimmery bits that have really gotten me. I feel like this is a really good versatile everyday sort of a palette, but also there's enough there to transition you into night. My gorgeous friend Wilma is probably sitting here rolling her eyes going, it's for the day walkers. Yes, I know, Wilma, don't worry. I know this won't interest you, but please be assured that when I do a live with my YouTube community members, I'll probably have this and I'll swatch this, and you will see me hand flapping, getting so disgustingly excited about it. I will say the palette itself looks tiny, like, and I've had his Ethereal palette before, and it's quite small, it's portable, which I don't dislike. I was going through this, and I think I remember seeing that some of the shades do have talc in them, so I'm a little bit surprised as to the price tag on this, and also the fact that a lot of Mario's other products have gone talc free, and he's even gone to the point of like not advertising that they're talc free, because a lot of us have kind of gone, oh yeah, that's the standard now, but it's not listed as the first ingredient. It's about the third or fourth ingredient on a lot of the shades. So I thought that was quite interesting to have that be £69 and have there be talc in it. So I did think that was quite strange. So I don't know if this has been something that has been in the works for quite some time before the whole kind of change around talc, etc., because we do see that things take a long time. I'll be talking about that a little bit later when we're talking about Patrick Ta. But yeah, I just found it really interesting that despite the massive shift in the makeup community towards going to talc free, that there is talc listed in pretty much all of the shades. Probably not all of them, but like a good number. And go check it out. Like, don't just take my word for it. Like, it's up on the website. All good websites should have ingredients lists. Otherwise, they're being very naughty. But I did end up getting it. I have no self-control, and I'm going to make absolutely no apologies for it. I am living my best life. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit basic. Like, it's not going to change my life. But you know what, I'm just in that era where I just want to have things, and it is what it is. Then we have Natasha Denona. And I love Natasha Denona, and I feel very conflicted about this for several reasons. One, why is it limited edition? That's foolish. This is really interesting. Two, why are you doing so many releases? I think this is maybe, the last time I talked about Natasha Denona was maybe 2 weeks ago, and I talked about them again a week before that. So that is the guts of 3 releases within a month. Now that's a huge amount for such an expensive brand. The third thing I want to say is I'm loving that she's gone kind of a little bit more purpley. I did kind of think it was going to be more purple than it actually is. I'm not saying that I don't love it. I'm very excited about it. This is, by the way, the Roja palette. I was calling it the Roxa, but somebody pointed out it's actually Roja, so please bear with me. $69, and it actually went on sale or pre-access, early access today. It was really annoying though, because you couldn't use codes to take money off, and it cost like €86 €1, including the postage. So obviously I ended up getting it. Don't even stop. Like, I'm foolish. We know this. But I'm kind of surprised she kind of didn't lean that little bit more into the cool tone purples. Like, there's some cool tonedness to this. Like, there's that bluey purple, like almost a blueberry shade, which I think is beautiful. But she's definitely gone more into the pink side of purple, which isn't a bad thing. A lot of people have pointed out its similarity between this and the Love palettes, which I can totally see. I don't think they're necessarily duping each other, but I think that they're sort of like sister palettes. And as I said before, with the likes of Natasha Denona, what you can do is take out the pans and you can rearrange them and essentially make your own palette from that. Like, she's kind of known for that. She's brought about a couple of new formulas with this, and she has said, you know, that marbled shade, she's like, oh, this is a duochrome, and you're always going to get a slightly different shade each time because it's marbled. And I'm like, oh God, Natasha. I love her, but I'm also like, could we not do that? Could just mix it, make it consistent, because I need consistency. My little autistic brain is not able for not getting the same thing twice. Like, I'm just not. I'm very interested in this. They obviously showed their swatches, and you know how she like digs into the pan, she's like, wow, look at it go down my arm, and I'm like, how much of that pigment did you use? But I am very excited. This is a talc-free formula, and it's about the same price as the Makeup by Mario, but I prefer the Colour Story that little bit more. I, as I said, did get it. I'm very excited about this. I am an affiliate. I know, isn't that disgusting? I hate that about me too, but look, you know, we all try to get on with things. It doesn't seem that you can use my code with this, but hey, give it a go the next time if you want to try. I will say you might have better luck with the likes of Sephora, etc., purchasing from them. I don't know. If you're smart, you might have listed Natasha Denona as one of your like 10% off brands. I love this. I'm so excited about this. She's also said that she used her original Lila palette, which has been discontinued for quite some time, and she's kind of taken that as inspiration going forward. Now, she's done that before with the original gold palette, remember? And she then kind of did her I Need a Gold palette, and she brought out a lot of the same sort of colours but slightly reformulated them, and you could definitely feel the difference. She took out those really interesting teal shades, which I'm still a little bit heartbroken about, but I think this is really interesting. I suspect we'll have a few people comparing the Lila palette. Now, I do have the Lila palette, however, I do not physically have it on me at the moment. That's a long story. Otherwise, I would absolutely compare them, but oh mama, I am very excited. There's various dates as to when this is launching across different platforms. Unfortunately, it looks like Australia, New Zealand is one of the last ones on the calling card as to when they're actually getting it. And I think India and Sri Lanka, etc., they haven't even gotten a date announced yet, which I think is kind of sucky. But it seems that Sephora kind of get access to this before a lot of the other companies, which leads me back to my previous kind of thoughts around Natasha Denona and what has been going on there for the last however long. She's done a lot of neutral palettes. Some people can't stand that. Some people are like, yay, give the people what they want. I get it from lots of different points of view. You know, she's a business at the end of the day. And I think Sephora do dictate to some degree what is actually being produced. And I think they've had a big say in her leaning a lot more neutral over the last several launches. I mean, they get first access essentially to all of her stuff. Like, they're coming to the Sephora app on the 18th, and it's not officially launched on Natasha Denona's own website until the 20th. It happened to be that just they're doing like the early access for members, which, you know, just sign up, like it's grand. I just think it's interesting. It does indicate that there's some sort of a relationship happening there between Sephora, and I wonder how much of it is dictatorial. Do you know what I mean? I just love seeing Natasha going into colour because I feel like she does it really, really well. I'm hoping that she'll kind of do with this kind of like what she's done with her neutrals, of understanding there's lots of different undertones and maybe coming out with something that's a little bit more cool toned. I still feel like with her neutral palettes, she needs to do a more cool toned palette. I mean, I'm just saying, but I think there's a possibility of taking this same sort of a purple, beautiful colour story and going full cool tone with it. So what I'm trying to say is, if you haven't 100% convinced yourself into this, well, firstly, don't convince yourself into buying something that you absolutely don't need, but have a little wait, because Natasha has done this before where she's like, here's a neutral palette, and you're like, okay, I guess that's the only neutral palette I'll get, and then she does another two. I don't know, I'm hoping she might do a few more that are like cool toned, and maybe she'll come out with a mini. I wouldn't be surprised if she does a mini, because she kind of did that with the Xenon. She came out with the mini Xenon first and then the larger Xenon. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this time next year we see like a little mini Roja palette. That would be quite smart, in my opinion. I don't know if it'd necessarily be like a copy and paste from some of these shades, or whether it would just be like inspiration from that. I don't know, it's just me speculating, but I'm so excited. I ordered it. I'm foolish. Let me know what you guys think. Then we have Fantasy Cosmetica, and I have really wanted to try this brand for quite some time. I even ordered from them once before, but there was an issue with the post, and unfortunately the parcel went missing. I will say, however, their customer service, amazing. They were so easy to deal with. So on that alone, I feel pretty good about like talking about them. This is their Harvest of Souls palette. But alongside this, they're also coming out with 2 candles, but I just want to talk about the palette because frankly, this is my channel and I get to talk about what I want to talk about. And I saw this swatched over on Deandra Nicole's Instagram and my jaw dropped. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's available right now. It's $55 US. There's 2 holochromes, 4 duochromes, and 10 mattes. And there's greens and there's purples, and I love how essentially it's like half the pan or half of the palette is like very warm leaning and then half is really cool toned leaning. Oh, I just love this. And particularly when I was looking over at the swatches over on the right hand side, I thought about how much these would complement the Divination palettes that we were looking at last week. I'm not saying they're duping, they definitely aren't, but there's a very similar kind of like greeny purpley aesthetic. That's because green and purple are fabulous together. And I have to say, I just think this looks so gorgeous. And as always, Deandra just does the most amazing photography with it. Really shows the colors here. I love both sides. Like I love both the cool toned aspect and the more kind of grungy, slightly warm toned aspect. It does have like a certain amount of very light shades in there. Like there's a green in there that's quite light. It's a little bit more medium to deep tone leaning, which I personally enjoy. But it does mean that like sometimes you need to have some other shades to like blend out, which honestly, that's not a big deal. You know, this is probably a little bit better for people who have deeper skin tones because they're not going to need those same blendy outy shades as the rest of us absolute ghosts will need. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. The pigmentation looks fantastic. And I feel like there's a lot of versatility that you can get with this. Oh, I really want to see this again in a couple of different lights, and I might see if I can find a video, because normally she's brilliant at like having a video of showing kind of the dimensions of the shimmers, etc. Particularly when we're looking at something that is a holochrome. I think that's quite interesting. I don't know, like I've seen a couple of their color stories and they've kind of grabbed me a few times. And I know that like say Glisten Cosmetics have started to stock Blend Bunny. And I love Glisten Cosmetics. That's why I'm an affiliate. I have a frightening amount of their things. I would love to see them stock this brand as well, because I think that could be very interesting. I just think it's fabulous. Also, the palette is magnetic. So you can actually remove the shadows and you could rearrange them if you wanted to do that. I know that's not a big deal, but I kind of like that. I don't know, like... I kind of go through makeup every so often and I'm like, oh, this isn't wildly interesting to me. But just in the last couple of weeks, I felt like there's a few more slightly interesting releases. And this is definitely one of those. And I feel like the timing of this is also really good. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the way that I think of things. But green and purple, for some reason, just make me think of Beetlejuice. And the fact that obviously the new Beetlejuice film came out not that long ago, I feel like this just kind of ties in with this really well. Like, yeah, I like this. I don't have anything negative to say about it other than why is it not in my hands? Very sad about that, but I think it's really cool. Then we have Martine Cosmetics, and I need to say this first in that I'm going to really struggle to be unbiased. Hate is a strong word. I am terrified of clowns, right? So that is definitely impacting the way that I'm looking at this collection. And by the way, I'm trying not to look at it too much because there's an eyeshadow palette there that has the face of a clown on it, and I can actually feel my heart rate increasing. I'm like, oh, this is wildly uncomfortable for me. Look at these defense mechanism responses in play here. This is part of their essentially Halloween collection. It's the Martine's Circus collection. And I will say that the way that they photographed this is amazing. Like, it's really, really clear. They've done like blood spatter type things on the lip glosses. Well, they're not lip glosses, they're like velvet lip mousses, and on the liquid blushes, which I just think kudos. Look at that level of detail. Really, really interesting. It's a small enough collection. There's one eyeshadow palette. It's retailing for €54.95. There's 3 liquid blushes. They're in the shades Giddy, Vera and Casey. They're €19.95 each, but if you liked all 3 of them, you could bundle them for €49.95. There's 2 velvet lip mousses. They're in the shades Jumbo and Timothée, and I think Jumbo is the more orange one and Timothée is the more red one. They're €19.95 each, or you can get the duo, get the 2 of them together for €32.95. You can get the full collection for €129.95. I feel maybe I'm just a bit bananas. It feels a little bit late to kind of be doing this because we're coming very, very close to Halloween. Unless maybe they've the most amazing delivery service ever and it gets to your like door the next day. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I like to like plan things in advance. It's the autistic sort of nature is all I can say. So I'm kind of surprised this has come out quite late, and that bloody clown keeps staring at me and it's really freaking me out. So oh, move to the next slide, because by the way I put all of these onto a slideshow. All of my YouTube community members get access to the PDF in case you guys are wondering. I actually can't cope. Why have I done this to myself is the major question. So, in case you don't know, Martine Cosmetics is actually a Belgian brand. I once said they were French, which, oh, extremely foolish of me, because like getting those countries mixed up is Anyways, everything is in French on the site, so I had to try and do some Google Translates because I have a little bit of French, but it's not enough for me to confidently sit there and be like, ah yes, this is what's going on. But the palette itself, it's quite expensive. I think what's interesting about it is it's almost like there's 2 9-pan palettes at play here. At the very top you see like your yellows, your oranges, and that kind of pop of red, and I'm like, okay, I kind of see that. I can see how that's linked in with a Circus, like it's making me think of that big tent. Yeah, fair enough, those are the colours. And then down at the bottom is it's a little bit more kind of cool toned, and I think it's really interesting to kind of juxtapose that. Now I was looking on their website and trying to find swatches, and these are the swatches that I found, but I will say they're not the most clear. There's a lot of like shades actually missing from there. Like you don't see the blue and the sort of a tealy shade in there, or the kind of minty green. It's not even a mint green. My brain just isn't able to process it because I'm like, there's a clown near, and it is here. So my brain can't process it. But it does say in the description that there is a duochrome, so you can kind of see that duochrome is that purple to blue. That's not wildly unusual. We've kind of seen those shades of duochromes before, so I'm like, okay, that's pretty standard. If you've ever had a duochrome, you've probably had that exact shade, so you know, keep that in mind. Again, I'm trying to look at this objectively, and I just feel like this is a little bit, oh, it feels a little bit makeup revolution. And I don't mean to be mean. I think it's just, it feels very jumbled, but I get that it kind of has to be jumbled with this sort of a theme. You know, there's the chaos of a circus. So at the same time, I'm like, I kind of can't figure out what other way they could do it. It just isn't my aesthetic, and that's totally fine. If you are vibing with this, you could probably make some really pretty looks. Like the immediate thing that comes to mind is like a sunset eye, but I kind of feel like past that, you kind of couldn't do a lot with it. That's my major concern. Then when I'm looking at the blushes, I actually think they're really, really pretty. I love the shade Giddy. It's almost kind of neutral leaning. They're very, very interesting. I love that dark kind of shade Casey. That could look very, very beautiful. What annoyed me was on the website when I was looking, and they could have changed it since, who knows, I couldn't see any applications of this on the face. And I've said this a million times before, so anyone who's watched, haha, you know what I'm going to say. It's grand to show me the shade. However, I want to see what it looks like, and I need to know, is it buildable? Is it blendable? If I put a little dot of this, is it going to be like Rare Beauty and I'm going to be like, oh my god, there's so much pigment here, I don't know what to do? Because that can happen with liquid blushes. I'd love to have like a video of somebody just showing what it looks like. And can you blend it out and see it across lots of different skin tones? Because it could look very, very different on somebody like me who is frighteningly pale, and it could look quite different than on somebody who has a deeper skin tone. We've seen this over the last several weeks on social media, that blushes in particular, well, there's lots of makeup items, but blushes, if they're not formulated correctly for deeper skin tones, can be quite disastrous. They can look ashy, etc. And I think it's very important that we're being very transparent about the way that things look. And these are expensive. Mind you, it doesn't matter if they're inexpensive either. I still feel that you should make these things very, very clear to people so that they know what it is that they're signing up for. And at this point, Martine Cosmetics is quite an established brand, so they would have the money to do that sort of thing. So I'm just a little bit confused. I'd like to see it actually on. And then when it comes to the lip mousses, I know that one is orange and one is red, but even when you see the two of them together, and it might just be me, might be me with my gammy eyes, but they look quite similar. I'm not saying they're identical, they're definitely not. One is clearly more orange toned, but if you did a quick, you know, head tilt away and looked back again, you'd struggle to differentiate immediately. You would eventually give yourself a second or two, you would. I kind of think they missed a trick here. Why not do like a purple or something quite different? Although they might have done a purple. I think they might have done a purple before. I don't know. But then it's also like, do you necessarily need this? And the formula looks like it's a mousse. A mousse. And I don't know why that word is just very interesting to me, because all I can think of is the actual animal mousse. And I always thought that mousses were small, and now I've seen them like in proportion to other things, and I'm like, why did I think they're small? They are huge. That is not the point. Get back onto the tangent, Teresa. But I don't know if I could tolerate this sort of a formula, because I'm very particular about sensory kind of feelings. A lot of people are, like, this isn't just a me thing. I think that's quite a universal sort of an experience. I don't know if I could tolerate that. It looks quite thick, quite heavy, and I'd love to see how it would wear across the day, because I'm not sure what the story would be there. In terms of the full collection, straight off, it just isn't for me. The theme in general, being circus and relating to clowns, immediately fills me with a sense of dread. Like, I kind of can't get past it. And like I said, I'm trying not to let that colour the rest of my perceptions of the entire collection, but it's kind of hard not to. So like, take my critique here with like a very, very large dose of salt, because I feel a whole lot of feelings towards that. I personally just don't like the colour story of the eyeshadow palette. It feels very jumbled, but it also feels very confining, that I couldn't do a lot with it. There's only a handful of things that I could think to do with it, and I'd like to think I'm relatively outside of the box when it comes to doing any sort of colourful makeup. I don't tend to be too afraid of it. I'm like, meh, fuck it, put it on. But I kind of struggle with that, and I feel like the price point is pretty high, you know, when you're looking at what you're getting from that. I haven't really heard of anyone that I know that's tried Martine Cosmetics, so I can't vouch as to the quality. That just looks a bit like, to me, like not really interesting. I've said what I've said about the blushes. I don't understand why they don't show it on the actual face. That's really, really strange to me. I think in this day and age, particularly with things like liquid blushes, you need to, on your website, have a video showing it applying and showing how easily it can blend out, how easily it can build up. Like, that's kind of what I think you need to have and show. Do you need to set it? How does it wear on oily skin? How does it wear on dry skin? Is it going to catch all of like my dry patches? What's going on there? Like, that's what I want to know to make an informed decision. And I feel like that information isn't as easily accessible as it could be. The lip mousses, I think it's just the word mousse. Maybe it's the 2000s teenager in me. I remember Dream Matte Mousse, you know that one. And I just have a whole like, of that. And the sensory feeling that comes with that, it just isn't for me. I think the shades are a little bit too similar to each other. And do you know what would have been fun? A really bright, vibrant pink, like a hot pink, like really, really bam in there. Hot pink, a good kind of, I don't want to say clownish red, but yeah, clownish red, and maybe like a purple. That could have been really interesting. The packaging, etc., the photography around this, so well presented. It just isn't a theme that speaks to me, and that is totally fine. Oh my goodness though, and I will say, do not buy this, because once you buy this, you're ruined for life. This is Isamaya Beauty, and this is their Liplacq 2.0. They have 3 new shades of their maximizing lip serum. So the 3 new shades are Beetle, Lotus and Ultraviolet, and you get 2.5 mils in each of those. They're $38. They're so expensive, but oh my god. I got 1 shade of this, and I wish I hadn't because it is honestly the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so beautiful. It's so expensive. It's so expensive, and I hate myself for it. Like, I hate myself for it. But oh my god, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm also going to say F you, Daniela, because Daniela kind of like went off and was like, oh, look at this particular lip gloss thing, and she influenced me to buy this, which by the way, she influences me to buy a lot of these things. I need to like cut off that friendship. It's very dangerous for me. I'm joking. I love you very much, Daniela, but it's one of the prettiest, most glittery, like absolutely, like I can't actually verbalize it. Like yeah. Is all I can say. And these new shades, I can't figure out which one I want to start off with, because I do want all 3 of them. I know that's terrible. I know. Stage and intervention for me. There is no coming back from this. Let's maybe start with Beetle, right? That's the black one. Oh, and it's not just a black. There's like these blue glitters in them. I just can't. By the way, they have, you know, that ring at the top. You can remove that. It's like a little ball thing, because obviously it's Isamaya Beauty is all about like alt beauty, and I love it. Anything that I've got from Isamaya Beauty, I've been lividly enjoying. Like, just kind of go, god damn it, I wanted to hate this so I could never justify buying these things again. But you know what, they're gorgeous. And look at that, look at it on the lips. I just can't. I can't. $38. I know that they do come to Cult Beauty at some point, and Cult Beauty normally have a coupon for 20% off. It's THUYCB, and I know it did work the last time that I got the Liplacq 2.0. So frankly, if these come to Cult Beauty, I will push everybody else out of the way, and I won't feel sorry about it, as long as I can get these lip glosses, because they're gorgeous. And like, they can go on like quite sheer. You can have them be like a little wash, a little soupçon of colour, and then you can build it up to be properly like, I am a glittery robot. Absolutely. I can't cope with it. That shade Beetle, gorgeous. And then I look at the shade Lotus, and I'm like, okay, no, I also love you. Don't make me choose. Don't make me choose. This is Sophie's Choice, but with lip glosses. Look at how gorgeous and delicate and beautiful and glittery that is. There are no words. There are no words. Livid with this, Isamaya. I'm actually livid. And by the way, don't do a drinking game to the word livid in this episode. It would be extremely dangerous. I'm very angry with makeup in general this week, because there's been a lot of stuff that has released that I'm like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. And I just feel like this is a dangerous time for me. But that looks so beautiful. It looks so delicate. I can see myself running through a meadow of flowers, which I would never do because I don't run. Ugh, gross. If you love it, I'm delighted for you, but I am a sloth, both in attitude and in looks. But I just feel like this is like a sundress, and you know, sitting and picnicking sort of a lip gloss, which is so unusual for Isamaya, but I love that. And then Ultraviolet. Oh my god, do you see the little like actual lilac-y sparkles that is in that? And as I said, you can build that up. Oh, I have a whole bunch of feelings around these, and I think I may get to the point of like collecting all of these, which I'm very angry about. I'm begrudgingly admitting that that's where I am with my life, but I do want all of these, and this is what's happening. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I think you can get them on Selfridges as well. Look, you'll know the drill. I'll have it down in the description box. If you ever want to buy anything, you can buy stuff through there. It's an affiliate link. Isn't that disgusting? I know. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, absolutely love all 3 of them. Don't make me choose. I want all of them. It'll be interesting to see how expensive they'll be on Cult Beauty once they do like the conversion. Yeah, I know I'm gonna get these, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. my bank balance will feel bad about it, but I personally will not feel bad about it. This next one, oh my god, this is a classic case of who asked for this? This is the Maybelline Sensational Sky High Glitter Mascara Diamond Effect Eye Makeup for lashes and brows. Why? A, why such a long title? And B, why? Why? What in the... Why are we looking for more effective ways to blind ourselves with our makeup utensils? Like, glitter is not meant to go anywhere near the eyes. Like, you know, we all already take a little bit of a dicey turn every time we put a little bit of like pressed glitter onto the eyes. But you're wanting to put it into mascara? Into mascara? Like, that is so weird. And I checked, by the way, Maybelline for this, and I didn't see it on Maybelline's website, but it's over on Amazon. And I'm like, what is going on here? And they're like, there's so many possibilities. You can use it on your lashes, but also your brows. And I'm like, this looks terrible. How? And by the way, these are the promotional shots. Like, these are obviously the best photos that they could get. And when like, it reminds me of, have you ever seen those films where people have ended up like in like very cold climates? You know, like think The Day After Tomorrow or whatever, where it's freezing over and they have like frost and stuff on their eyelashes, which I've always been very jealous of because that would not happen to me. I don't have long lashes. It wouldn't be noticeable. They like turn down. It's very sad. But like, what? It looks like that. It looks like you've like frost on your eyelashes. Is that what they've always used in film to make this happen? I just... Who brought this idea to the team? And they're like, oh yeah, you can also put this into your brows. And I'm like, no, I will not. Thank you very much. I love that they've had to say it's ophthalmologist and allergy tested, suitable for sensitive eyes and contact lens wearers. Really? Are you sure? I'm gonna say it right now, don't buy this. Please don't buy this. This seems absolutely terrifying. And they're like, oh yeah, make sure that when you're removing it, that and this is, by the way, on the post, use Garnier micellar water as a gentle makeup remover at night and as a facial cleanser in the morning to prep skin for Maybelline makeup. I guess they're like part of the same parent company. I cannot verbalize how much I hate this. It's $10.42 as well, and mascara in general has gotten more expensive, even the drugstore ones. I guess it's a cheap way to potentially blind yourself. So, I mean, I can think of cheaper ways. But yeah, I like the guttural reflexive response is yikes, absolutely not, no thank you. But the other thing that I do want to talk about that I think is interesting from Maybelline is their Tattoo Studio Sharpenable Gel Pencil Waterproof Eyeliner. Again, I need them to cut down on their labels of things because they're too long. There's two new shades and they're both duochrome. So there's Stardust Chrome and Aurora Flip. They're listed at the moment on Walmart but aren't available for $7.65. I really like Maybelline's eye pencils. I think they're quite nice. And if these are $7.65, they could be quite a nice little find. Are they like completely different to stuff that's already on the market? No, we've quite a few options when it comes to duochrome eyeliners, but I think having a more affordable option here is pretty great. I'm just confused as to why they have essentially marketed this alongside that god-awful mascara. And they have a beautiful model showing the mascara, and even she can't make it work. So like, what hope is there for the rest of us? They should have just done these eyeliners because I think that these do look very, very interesting. I do feel like maybe the shade Stardust Chrome isn't as interesting as maybe Aurora Flip, or at least the way that they've photographed it, it doesn't make it look like it has that duochrome nature to it. It still looks absolutely beautiful, don't get me wrong. And $7.65, if you're in the States and you walk into a Walmart and that's there, I would say go and pick that up. That looks really, really interesting. I like their eye pencils. As I said, my lovely friend Daniela actually turned me onto them. She gave me a fabulous brown one and it's really, really good. Really, really good quality. So you know what? I don't hate that bit, but like, why the glitter mascara? There was absolutely no need for that. Is it a cry for help? Is everything okay there? Like maybe the CEO of Maybelline is being held up somewhere in a tower and this was his way or her way or their way of outlining I need help and it's through glitter mascara, because they'd be like, surely anyone who's interested in makeup would know that glitter should not go in a mascara. I can't even, like, how could you take that off safely? And like mascara flakes off in general. Anyway, sorry, I know I was talking about the eyeliners, but I keep coming back to the mascara because there's a lot of like intrusive thoughts around that. At the best of times, like if you get a bad mascara, you'll get like flaking off, but this sort of flaking off with glitter, That would be even worse. Yeah, they should have just done the eyeliners. That would have been such a good release. But those really interesting products have gotten overshadowed by that god-awful, nasty, terrible mascara. And it's making me question all of my life choices. It's just dreadful. We're now on to some sneak peeks, so I won't be talking about them for very long, but this is Made by Mitchell, and there's part of me that doesn't want to talk about Made by Mitchell that much, simply because he just does too much. And I'm only talking about one thing that's been sneak peeked because there's been several things that have been sneak peeked in this week alone, and I can't. I don't want to. He's kind of shown that there's 2 new £5 palettes, but I did just find it very interesting that when he showed one of the £5 palettes, that one of the shades is clearly shattered, and I'm like, why would you do that? Why when you're showing something would you not show it in like pristine condition? It just seems like a weird way of showing it. The mattes look quite hard pressed as well. I don't know. And I remember when Made by Mitchell came out initially, the original Head of the Clouds and Feet of the Ground palettes, they were okay, they were fine, but he hasn't had a lot of success when it's come to his eyeshadows. And I guess he just, and I admire this, he keeps trying to go back to it. I don't like this. And I will also say, I feel like the last, was it the Quints or the Quads that he came out with, were too expensive for what they were. He also came out with, was it a £12 palette or something? That was like a really weird shape. I've tried to repress a certain amount of that, and that was like €60. That was grossly overpriced. I feel like, don't hate me, there's a lot of hype around Made by Mitchell, and some of it is absolutely warranted. There's some really great products, but then there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure. And I think he very much goes towards quantity over quality, of let me just like produce a whole bunch of stuff rather than thinking about the overall worthiness of these particular things. Like, what do they add to the makeup industry? Like, I feel like the paint cases, they were fantastic. They were really great. These, I can't even tell what the story is because like I've probably showed you the videos by now, but the sort of lighting that he's showing them in, I'm like, is this accurate? Is this true to whatever? So like, I don't know. There's definitely one in there that looks like it's a duochrome in one of the palettes. Yeah, I personally think when it comes to his eyeshadows, they're overpriced. And yeah, I'm just not that into his makeup products, is all I can say. Just, it's not for me, but there you go. This one though, and I'm going to talk about how this seems to have been in development for quite some time. This is Patrick Ta. There's eyeshadow duos. They're coming out as part of a holiday launch. Don't know exactly when they're coming out, but when he showed this over on his Instagram, Glamzilla was like, oh my god, I saw these 2 years ago, and Patrick was like, oh yeah, it's taken this long. So this is coming back to when I was talking about the Makeup by Mario and wondering about the formulation and there being talc in it, even though there's like a new thing of essentially not having talc in things. And I'm wondering, is it because Makeup by Mario started doing that palette a long time ago? Because as we can see here, it has taken 2 years to do these. That's the finishing entry on that. Oh my god, when I saw these, Patrick Ta is so expensive. He's so expensive, but oh my god, I hate how much I want these. I'm so angry with myself. Like, Tracy, you don't need, I know these. And he showed them in videos. I'm going to show you clips. I'm going to show you some videos, etc. as we go along. I don't know how much they're going to cost, and I suspect these are going to be limited edition, and if they are limited edition, I'm going to be so angry. But if they're part of the holiday thing, they are going to be limited edition. Oh, I feel so many feelings around that, but they look so beautiful. The sparkles, absolutely, so like they're glittery, gorgeous. Like, these are the, just put a quick like maybe black matte on and like smoke it out, or like some sort of a matte, smoke it out, and then just wipe that on top and just do a quick blend, and you're going to be glittery, and you're going to be beautiful, and you're going to be seen from the moon, from Mars, from various planets. I can't quite process it. It looks absolutely stunning. I need to know how much these are. Do I need to sell a kidney? Not mine, obviously. I'll sell somebody else's kidney. So let me know if you're willing to let me sell yours. The pink ones they look so much fun. I really like those kind of taupey ones. Look, to make this shorter, I like all of them. Don't make me choose. It's kind of going back to the way that I felt about the Isamaya lip lacquers. These are absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to see more of them. I'm so angry with how pretty they look. very, very angry. The very last thing that we're going to talk about is Glamlite, because we can't do an episode without Glamlite. To be fair, Giselle is clearly the hardest working person in makeup because she is on it. And she revealed this over on her Instagram, and it's basically her just saying a new horror icon is joining the Glamlite horror family, introducing Trick or Treat by Glamlite. So it looks like we're getting a new horror collection, fresh off the heels of just having done Michael Myers and having done Coca-Cola. She does a lot. She does a lot. It's very, very hard to keep up, but to be fair, this is the time to kind of be doing it. It's coming into Halloween. She'll do well, and the quality is pretty good. I'll be intrigued to see what the story is, and obviously I'll talk about it later once we have more info, but I do feel a little bit overwhelmed. It's a lot of stuff coming from Glamlite, and I'm like, Giselle, do you want to take a break? Do you want to lie down? Do you want to take a little holiday? Because you're doing a lot, you're doing too much. Have you thought of like just cooling it just ever so slightly, you know? I get it, you know, she's hustling, and I admire that, you know, but there has to come a time where you just kind of go, okay, maybe I don't need a new launch every week, you know? Just saying. But my gorgeous friends, that is it. It is a longer episode because I struggle to curtail myself. I went on a few tangents, but I do have my favourite comment. This is from the lovely Janet. She said, tell me a brand that isn't doing too much right now. Damn right. There's a few indie brands that are definitely keeping things nice and steady and not doing too many things, which I do appreciate, but I'm also seeing a couple of indie brands that are definitely going into the we're doing a lot of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm never going to go under consumption. That's not me. But when I am kind of going, there's a bit too much, it feels like the fire might be inside the house. Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm the one who's saying it, it might be an issue. But anyways, my gorgeous friends, thank you so much for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell because it's polite, and do please share because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case just wrap it up. Don't be gross, but that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.